Hey everyone, welcome to the Growtopia podcast, where we kick off the day with a bit of inspiration and, hopefully, a fresh perspective. I'm Simon Carver, and, okay, I'll admit it, I could use a bit of motivating myself right now. So let's dive straight in with a couple of my all-time favorites. Ariana Huffington said, "Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success." That one really lands, right? And then there's Richard Branson's, "If your dreams don't scare you, they are too small." That's a little intimidating, but in a good way. I mean, if your goals don't rattle your nerves even a little, are they really worth chasing? Now, you might be thinking, these quotes sound great on a coffee mug, but do they actually change anything at work? I'd argue yes, at least if you make them part of your routine. Some teams do a quote of the day thing, maybe in an email, maybe posted on Slack, or even scribbled on an office whiteboard. I know it sounds a bit cheesy, like something your high school gym teacher would do. But honestly, little reminders like this can become kind of a touchstone for the day. Consistency matters, especially for team spirit and productivity. If you start your morning with a little shared nudge, it can help everyone push through the mid-afternoon lull. Speaking of lulls, let me tell you about my first time bombing on stage as an improv comedian. I mean, it was bad. Stunned silence, tumbleweeds. I almost never tried again. But then I stumbled across this Theodore Roosevelt quote, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." Something about that stuck with me. I went back out, shaking like a leaf, but hey, I survived. It's like these quotes aren't just words. They're reminders that the messy, awkward middle is where the good stuff happens. And if you run a quote of the day at work, you never know whose courage you might be nudging, quietly, in the corner there. Let's keep rolling with positivity. At work, leadership really sets the tone. Remember Brené Brown's quote? "If you've created a work culture where vulnerability isn't okay, you've also created a culture where innovation and creativity aren't okay." Oof. And the other one from Richard Branson that always comes up in culture talks. "Clients do not come first. Employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients." I love that because it flips the script. Happy people, happy business, right? So how does this all play out on a regular team? Well, for starters, pick your spots. Drop an uplifting quote at the start of a meeting or in a Slack channel. Sounds simple, but when you're in the weeds of a tough week, sometimes a little encouragement lifts more than you'd expect. Even just posting a positive thought where people see it every day can make a difference in the team's headspace. I've heard this great story from a small marketing agency. During a crazy project deadline, they started sharing gratitude quotes every morning. Oprah's goes, "Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more." The team got one new quote each day. And not only did it get laughs, some were, frankly, so corny they had to be funny, it actually brought out genuine gratitude. People started noticing the little wins instead of obsessing over the clock, and morale genuinely improved. Sometimes it's the smallest things that move the biggest mountains, you know? All right, let's talk about resilience, that magic fuel that gets you through the tough spots. I love this line from Nelson Mandela. "It always seems impossible until it's done." If ever there was a summary of getting through work hurdles, that's it. And Marie Curie's "Life is not easy for any of us. Confidence in ourselves." She's blunt, but honest. Here's something to chew on. When you hit a wall or get hit with a setback, what's the quote or saying that helps you power through? Maybe you're dealing with burnout, or maybe the quarterly report flopped, or that big pitch got shot down. What do you reach for mentally to give you that push? I think reflecting on that is powerful, and actually, asking coworkers about their go-to motivational lines can be a great icebreaker. I remember once my improv troupe was told, point blank, "You can't pull off a full hour without a script." Challenge accepted. We performed anyway. No script, pure chaos, but also pure fun and flow. It worked, and that proved the Chinese proverb, "Those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those doing it." That one's worth keeping close, especially when it's tempting to listen to the doubters or second-guess the bold ideas. Sometimes you have to just do it and figure out the rest as you go. So let's talk values for a minute. If you want a team that clicks, you gotta know, really know, what matters to everyone. Sometimes the best starting point is just sitting down and asking, what do we stand for? It doesn't have to be some heavy HR exercise either. Pick a regular time for team members to talk about moments they saw your values in action. Maybe someone jumped in to help a teammate, or someone showed real integrity in a sticky situation. Stories like those turn abstract values into real, living things. Visual reminders help too. You can throw up posters in the break room or pin key ideas to a team chat. Set it and forget it? Not quite. You got to keep the conversation alive and bring those values front and center so they don't get lost in all the busy work. When you do, it's like the team starts humming with a sense of common purpose. That's when trust really takes root. Let's switch gears. Gratitude seems fluffy until you put it into practice, and then suddenly it's like rocket fuel for morale. What if you started every meeting by sharing one thing, big or small, that you're grateful for? Could be about landing a new client, or just that the coffee machine was finally fixed. It just flips the mood, you know? And what about a gratitude journal, or a shared Slack channel where you drop quick notes about small wins or moments of appreciation? Posting there regularly makes the habit stick, and before you know it, there's this ongoing ripple of acknowledgement in the team that really builds people up. To up the ante, I've seen companies run quarterly gratitude challenges. Everyone writes a little note or gives a small token to a teammate. Doesn't take much, but it reinforces that thankfulness is part of your culture, not just a thing we trot out for Thanksgiving. Sustained gratitude, not just random, makes people want to keep showing up and doing their best. Now, let's be real. Feedback at work can get awkward, but when you do it right, it becomes a growth opportunity, not just a box to check. Try regular one-on-ones every month. Nothing formal, just to check in about what's challenging, what's working, and what's next. Another idea, peer shoutouts, like a kudos board or a few minutes in each team meeting to highlight someone's effort. There's no downside to giving people a high five for trying, especially when it's focused on improvement, not just the wins. And if you're new to giving feedback, it's worth investing time in some basic training. Aim for balance. Make it specific, make it constructive, but don't sugarcoat what needs work. Feedback done well keeps everyone learning and keeps the team pushing each other upward. You ever notice how it's easy to celebrate the big stuff, like winning a new contract or nailing a huge project, but the little victories slip by? Recognizing small wins, like cracking a persistent bug in your code or finally reconciling that spreadsheet, can create positive momentum that really lasts. I've seen some teams set up a win wall, either a physical board in the office or something digital, like a Slack channel. People add sticky notes or digital posts whenever they check off an accomplishment, and it builds this kind of positive snowball effect. For managers, just starting a meeting by running through recent wins does wonders for morale. It reminds everyone the progress, even the tiny incremental kind, adds up and propels the whole team forward. If you want a team that keeps evolving, carve out time for ongoing learning. Doesn't have to be a massive undertaking. Lunch and learns, quick lunch webinars, or even a book club, they all create space for people to share new knowledge. At review time, encourage folks to set personal development goals. Something purposeful, not just get better at email. Check-ins on progress make a big difference because everyone likes to see evidence of growth, right? Consider building a digital resource library with useful articles, top courses, or tools anyone can access. A team invested in learning is a team that's ready for whatever comes next. Let's get creative for a second. If you want innovation, you've got to welcome all ideas, even the weird ones. Team brainstorming sessions where no one gets shot down, at least at first, are essential. Run innovation days. Sometimes they're called hackathons, where you focus on new projects or workarounds. Just setting aside the rules for a day opens the door to wild, occasionally brilliant ideas. Share stories when those off-the-wall ideas actually worked. Nothing motivates a team to take risks like hearing that creative approaches get noticed and celebrated. Visualization isn't just some athlete thing. Guiding your team to imagine what success looks or feels like, maybe in a quick exercise at the start of a major project, can help set clearer paths and motivation. Use tools like vision boards or digital goal trackers. When people literally see their big goals and the steps to get there, it's easier to believe in the work it'll take. I've seen teams overcome creative blocks and hit big breakthroughs simply because they got together, pictured the win, and then mapped the path backwards. That little bit of positive visualization goes a long way. Bringing motivation into everyday work isn't rocket science. It's all about habits. Try a daily huddle with a favorite quote or by sharing a personal win. As simple as it sounds, it centers the group and carries positivity into the day. It also helps to schedule weekly reflection sessions. Give everyone a chance to share how they put some motivational nugget into practice, or what didn't work. These check-ins keep the inspiration real and actionable. Some offices set aside a physical or digital motivation corner, maybe a bulletin board or a Slack channel where you pin quotes, share quick success stories, or useful articles. It gives everyone a go-to spot for a morale boost when the mood dips. If you want motivation to really stick, you need to weave it into the team's routine. Start the day with a motivation moment. Everyone picks a quote of the day or shares what they hope to achieve. It's short, sweet, and gets everyone on the same page. At the end of the day, try ending with a quick reflection. What did we learn? What would we do differently? This helps reinforce both big and small growth moments and keeps the resilience muscle exercised. Managers, help out with templates for daily or weekly motivational messages. That way, no one has to reinvent the wheel, and the habit builds itself. I know, you're hearing a lot about routines, but honestly, this is where good habits are forged. Even a 5-minute huddle every morning, just to swap a quote or share a tiny win, positions your team to tackle whatever comes. Weekly, set aside time to actually look back and see where motivation mattered. Was there a challenge someone overcame because of it? Did a piece of advice fuel a breakthrough? Talking about this openly strengthens the group's resolve. And keep your motivation corner buzzing. Update it with stories and new quotes, just so the inspiration stays fresh and not just stuck in last quarter's wins. Resilience isn't some magical trait. It's built step by step. Encourage your team to make personal resilience plans. Mix in mindfulness breaks, seeking feedback, keeping a growth mindset. All part of that inner strength toolkit. Host resilience workshops or stress pop-ins, anything to help folks handle turbulence. Real-world tools beat generic platitudes every time. Peer support matters too. Sharing stories about overcoming adversity or having a group to talk through challenges keeps everyone focused on bouncing back, not just toughing it out alone. For motivation that really lasts, you've got to play the long game. Set serious goals, break them down into manageable milestones, and keep tabs on them together. Accountability partners make a big difference. If you've ever had someone check in on your goals, even if they're just asking how it went last week, you know how motivating that can be. Weekly check-ins keep everyone on track. And celebrate milestones. Create a reward system, not necessarily with big prizes, just honest recognition. Reaching a new level or finishing a big task, that's worth a shout-out. Yep, we're still talking about keeping the fire burning, because it's that important. Don't just set and forget your goals. Regularly review where you stand, mark progress, and tweak what's not working. Again, use those partnerships to keep each other honest. If you commit out loud to another person, you're more likely to follow through. Find someone who will ask the tough questions and cheer you on. Best of both worlds. Milestone recognition. Maybe a team lunch for hitting goals, or a quick group clap during the all hands. Turns effort into celebration. Motivation needs moments to recharge, so mark those victories together. Reflection isn't just a once-a-year activity. It's something to bake into your process. Try doing quarterly or even monthly team check-ins. Reflect together. What's working? What's getting in the way? And which wins still make you proud? Give everyone some prompts to get honest feedback. Was there a tactic that brought real results, or a habit that fizzled out? Learning what sticks makes you stronger the next round. Journaling. Doesn't matter if it's old school notebooks or a digital app, helps keep track of lessons learned and goals. Looking back, you'll spot patterns you might not catch in the day-to-day. Daily habits, again. It's worth repeating because the practice makes the progress. Quick huddle? Share a motivational quote or a tiny victory. Weekly reflection? Talk honestly about the wins and the wall hits. And that motivation corner? Keep adding to it. Once a week, ask someone new to contribute. Turns a passive resource into an active team ritual. Digging in for the long haul means each person has their own toolkit for resilience. Encourage your team to find what works. Maybe it's mindfulness routines, detailed goal setting, or celebrating little achievements daily. Help people identify these and make them a habit. Host resilience trainings. Get the whole team involved. Practical tools, not just talk, really empower folks. And always highlight the stories where grit and bounce back led to real wins. That's what makes people believe in their own capacity to persevere. It's never just once and done. Set a habit of checking in on both personal and group goals. Regular reviews keep motivation alive and focused. Set up a recognition program. Maybe badges, maybe spotlight moments in meetings, whatever works for your team culture. Highlight those hitting their stride at different points. Reflection, whether solo or as a group, always surfaces new ideas and lets you weed out what's dragging you down. Structuring long-term goals doesn't have to be complicated, but the review intervals and milestones need to be clear. Break it up. Set a big picture, then check in regularly to make sure you're not veering off course. Peer accountability groups can be energizing. They help build in support and a little friendly pressure too. These monthly or quarterly check-ins let you benchmark your progress with others. Recognition programs. Think journey awards or milestone celebrations. Remind people that perseverance is just as worthy of applause as high results. Nothing fuels motivation quite like hearing a real, relatable success story. Actively collect those stories. When someone in your company pulls off something remarkable, showcase it. Set up a story corner, digitally or in print, where these narratives get prime time. They inspire confidence and encourage a whole team to push the boundaries. Invite reflection. Get people to think about which stories resonate most and why. What in that journey can help them when they hit similar hurdles? Authentic motivation comes from knowing what makes each person tick. As a leader, don't just guess. Have one-on-one conversations where you ask about people's individual motivators and dreams. Try creating personalized motivation plans, not just company-wide KPIs, but unique to each team member's interest. Align their goals and rewards to what truly matters to them. And open meetings up to employee success stories and motivation triggers. It builds a culture where inspiration isn't just top-down, but organic and shared. If you want motivation to last, you've got to track it. Sure, some key performance indicators, like how engaged people are or how often they participate, give useful feedback. Run regular surveys or pulse checks. Find out what's working and what isn't, straight from the team's mouth, then adjust your strategies. Motivation needs to be a living, evolving thing. Try out new motivational tactics, see how they go, and don't be afraid to retire what's not resonating. A little experimentation keeps the energy alive. As we head out today, I want to leave you with one more thought. Regular reflection keeps us honest, motivated, and learning. Monthly or quarterly reviews, sit down, look at how far you've come, and celebrate the steps forward, even the wobbly ones. Use some prompts. What energized us this month? What habits worked? Which fell flat? Give credit where it's due and spot those growth opportunities early. And of course, journaling or keeping a digital log of highs, lows, and next steps helps keep the chain unbroken. Keep that growth mindset going and your motivation will last way beyond the morning quote. That's all for today. I hope you come back next time as we dig deeper into growing together. Keep fueling your day and stay inspired.